this? Slime. Yeah, we got some slime. Anybody know how slime teaches us theme? When we're looking at a story, we want to know, how do we find the theme? We're going to use slime. Any guesses for what the S might stand for?
Setting.
Not setting.
Story.
Not story. The first thing we're going to look at to find the theme is we're going to ask, who is the subject of this story, right? Who is this story about? After we know who the story is about, we're going to ask ourselves the L letter. Y'all know what the L letter is?
Lesson.
Yes, great. The L is, we know the subject, we know who the story's about. What lesson did they learn? The L in slime is, what lesson did the subject learn? And once we have that, I'm going to combine the I and the M. They're two different words, they kind of mean the same thing. What is the idea or message that the author is trying to share with me? Right? So we ask ourselves, we know who the subject is, we figured out what lesson they learned, and based on what lesson they learn, what idea or message am I supposed to learn from the story? This word is going to come up a lot, the E. It's going to come out throughout the year, and I'm going to say, every time you tell me something, you need to provide me with
Evidence.
evidence. Yes. So once you think you know what the message or the idea is, I'm going to say, why do you say that? What evidence can you give me in the story that's something or that supports the main idea or the message, right? So we got slime, subject, lesson, idea, message, and evidence. All right, so we're going to read a story called The Shepherd Boy and the Wolf, that some of y'all might know better as The Boy Who Cried Wolf, right? Quiet down for me, y'all. So, this was written by a guy named Aesop. Anybody ever heard of him? Who do you think Aesop is? Oh, raise your hand if you're going to talk. Now, quiet down for me. So Aesop was this old dude who wrote a lot of stories that had a lot of morals to the story, right? He wrote stories to kind of teach us like lessons. So he's a great guy to start with on theme. So the one we're going to read is The Shepherd Boy and the Wolf. So I also want to tell y'all this. We're going to do a lot of reading in class, obviously. It's language arts, right? When we do reading, what we're going to do is group reading. I'm going to read some, you're going to read some. I'm going to read some, you're going to read some. This story is very short, so I'm going to put it up here and I'm going to read it. I just don't want y'all to get used to the idea, oh, Mr. Schroeder's going to read everything. I don't got to look at it. So don't get used to that idea just today because this story is short. So let's take a look. A shepherd boy tended his master's sheep. Y'all remember, we're using slime on this, so start thinking about S-L-I-M-E when we're listening to this story. A shepherd boy tended his master's sheep near a dark forest not far from the village. Soon, he found life in the pasture very dull. All he could do to amuse himself was to talk to his dog or play on his shepherd's pipe. One day, as he sat watching the sheep in the quiet forest and thinking what he would do should he see a wolf, he thought of a plan to amuse himself. His master had told him to call for help should a wolf attack the flock and the villagers would drive it away. So now, though he had not seen anything that even looked like a wolf, he ran toward the village shouting at the top of his voice, "Wolf! Wolf!" As he expected, the villagers who heard the cry dropped their work and ran in great excitement to the pasture. But when they got there, they found the boy doubled up with laughter at the trick he had played on them. A few days later, the shepherd boy again shouted, "Wolf! Wolf!" Again, the villagers ran to help him, only to be laughed at again. Then, one evening, as the sun was setting behind the forest and the shadows were creeping out over the pasture, a wolf really did spring from the underbrush and fall upon the sheep. In terror, the boy ran toward the village, shouting, "Wolf! Wolf!" But though the villagers heard the cry, they did not run to help as they had before. "He cannot fool us again," they said. The wolf killed a great many of the boy's sheep and then slipped away into the forest. All right, y'all ready to use slime on this story?
Yes.
Let's do it. So first, that was going to be my sound effect again. It was supposed to go splat. The subject. Who is the subject of this story?
Shepherd.
The shepherd boy, right? Why not the wolf?
He's not in the full story.
He's not in the full story?
He's not.
He's a side character. Here's the big reason why it's not the wolf and why it's the shepherd boy. You know? Yes, that is exactly right. It is the shepherd boy who is the subject because he is the one that learns the lesson. Yes, so the boy is our subject and he is the one that learns the lesson. What is that lesson that he learns?
Oh.
Go ahead.
Don't tell the story too many times or people won't believe you.
Yeah, if you keep telling lies, eventually people are going to stop believing you. So the lesson he learned is if I keep trying to be funny and yell wolf, when a wolf shows up, nobody's going to come, right? So we know that the lesson he learned was, I got to stop yelling wolf when there's no wolf because the people won't believe me. What is the idea or message that we learned from that, Tanisha?
No lie. Never lie.
Never lie, right? If you lie too many times, people won't believe you, right? So yes, awesome. So now I would say, you've got the lesson. The lesson the boy learns is, what was it?
I got one.
Do not tell a story too many times.
Right, don't tell people there's a wolf if there's no wolf, because then they won't believe you. And we can learn from his lesson, our idea or message, that is the theme. The theme of this story is what, Elijah? Not to tell stories, right? Because if you tell too many stories, people will start believing you. So then I would say, I like that theme. I think that's a good theme. What's the evidence? What happened in the story that shows us that? Caleb?
When he was joking around and calling wolf when there was no wolf, and then when there was a real wolf.
Right. So when we're using slime, it might sound silly to be like, well, it happened right here, but we have to provide evidence, right? So yeah, you would say, I think the essential idea or message is that you shouldn't lie, because if you do, people will stop believing you. And I would say, Caleb, how can you tell me that? And he said, because in the story, the boy shouted wolf several times, nobody believed him. Fantastic, y'all had that. That was pretty easy using slime, right? Yeah, let's see, what time we at here? Oh, we got a little bit more, so let's do this. We're going to read one more. Oh, actually, before we read one more, I want to talk about what theme is not, because this is where it gets a little confusing. Remember, theme is the lesson of the story. One thing that theme isn't is main idea. When y'all hear us say main idea, we're talking about non-fiction stories, right? We're talking about true stories.
So my first year teaching was last year during the pandemic, so I don't know, this year is kind of a change because I don't know a whole lot of difference between what a normal year looks like and what a pandemic year looks like. So this year has been kind of an adjustment back to a normal, which is a kind of a welcomed adjustment because we don't have hybrid classrooms and things like that, but it has been a different kind of adjustment because I definitely got used to doing it pandemic style, and now we're back here, everybody in the room. But yeah, it's going great so far.